Time for a rising crisis update on the coronavirus pandemic, and we'll start as we always do with the numbers. All right, we're looking here at the numbers in the United States, which jumped up dramatically. We now have 85,000 plus reported cases, over 1,200 deaths. And you see below that, that's the worldwide numbers. We have 523,000 and 23,900 deaths. A lot of headlines yesterday about how the U.S. is now the #1 country in the world. As far as we know, remember some of these countries we don't have great data out of, including China and Iran. But as far as we know, U.S. now #1 in terms of the number of coronavirus cases. New York continuing to be an epicenter, although other places like Louisiana around the country are starting to see a major surge as well. But nearly 40,000 cases, 38,987 in New York, 432 deaths. And Saagar, we talked yesterday about how some of the hospitals, especially in New York City, especially in Queens, Elmhurst, are just becoming really overwhelmed, experiencing multiple deaths a day, and are starting to have to think about those terrible decisions about potentially rationing care. So that's where we're headed.
It's horrible. And look, I mean, that's where we're looking at Europe. We're looking at Italy. Now Spain is looking at, some 700 deaths in a single day, 60,000. I mean, it's a terrible situation across Europe, hoping and that we can do everything we possibly can here domestically to keep the numbers down. But yesterday reported on that New Orleans outbreak. It continues to be a problem. And it just goes to show you the importance of real public health policy. They allowed Mardi Gras to continue. And now many public health experts suspect that that is the reason that they've had the jump in the cases. At the same time, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson, announced this morning on Twitter in a video that he has tested positive for coronavirus. Let's take a listen to what he said.
Hi, folks. I want to bring you up to speed with something that's happening today, which is that I've developed mild symptoms of the coronavirus. That's to say, a temperature and a persistent cough. And on the advice of the chief medical officer, I've taken a test that has come out positive. So I am working from home, I'm self-isolating, and that's entirely the right thing to do. But be in no doubt that I can continue, thanks to the wizardry of modern technology, to communicate with all my top team to lead the national fight back against coronavirus.
It's really terrifying there. I mean, regardless of what you think about the man, he's the leader of one of the largest economies in the world, G7 nation, coming down with coronavirus. Justin Trudeau, of course, who's sitting in isolation after his wife is tested positive for coronavirus. And it just demonstrates...
There's questions that Glenn Greenwald's been
possible
raising about whether he has it. His son, lots of people around him do have that coronavirus. So, no one is exempt here, and some leaders of some of the most powerful and important countries in the world.
Boris Johnson's 55 years old. There are people, young men younger than him, who are dying of coronavirus in the ER waiting rooms in New York City right now. So this is deeply concerning. Really shocking news. Prince Charles obviously has coronavirus. The Queen is in isolation. And it just shows that this doesn't discriminate against anybody. It's really...
Indeed. Amy Klobuchar's husband very seriously, Rand Paul.
He was hospitalized.
Yeah.
It's a terrible... And she wasn't allowed to see him. It's a terrible situation.
Very scary stuff. At the same time, President Trump is picking a new fight with Thomas Massie, who is a member of Congress from Kentucky. Trump tweeting this morning. So let me give you a little bit of context first that we talked about on the show. So Massie alone is basically forcing members to come back to D.C. to vote on this massive bailout stimulus bill. Now, his objections to it are not my objections. He thinks it's too big in terms of even what individuals and small businesses are getting. I think that's ridiculous. But I do not think it's ridiculous that members should have to come and actually vote yes or no on what is the largest stimulus bailout bill in American history. I don't think that's crazy, but the president is not too happy about it, tweeting, Looks like a third-rate grandstander named Thomas Massie, a congressman from, unfortunately, a truly great state, Kentucky, agree with you there, sir, wants to vote against the new Save Our Workers bill in Congress. He just wants the publicity. He can't stop it, only delay, which is both dangerous and costly. Workers and small businesses need money now in order to survive. A virus wasn't their fault. It is hell dealing with the Dems. Had to give up some stupid things in order to get the big picture done. 90% great win back to House, but throw Massie out of Republican Party. There you go.
I will say one thing. Thomas Massie is a libertarian, and if Donald Trump wants to throw him out, I don't really care what the grounds are. So.
You know what?
Good riddance.
I feel complicated about it because I followed him for a while, having lived in Kentucky. So he does these I think he does these weekly Q&As called Sassy with Massie. He's a very, I guess you call him a gadfly. I know that's like a very negative connotation. I always kind of appreciate, though, even though his philosophy is polar opposite of mine, I kind of appreciate people who are willing to be that 96-1 vote or 430-1 vote. I mean,
they're called libertarians because they don't believe in government. They don't believe in public policy.
But you see that too on Bernie Sanders has been that one vote at plenty of times. AOC and others in the squad have been that just a few votes on important issues at one time. So I kind of respect, even though his philosophy is not mine, his willingness to go very much against the grain consistently.
Broken clocks are right twice a day.
There you go. And they should vote.
That doesn't mean we forgive them.
They should vote on this bill. They should all have to cast their vote on this bill.
I agree with Thomas Massie.
There you go. All right. We'll have more for you later.